Everybody, it's Matt Fury from Avid here at Sundance. As you know, we're out here talking to filmmakers, editors, writers, directors, composers, to let you know what's going on here at Sundance and all the exciting films that are taking place. One of those films is a film called A Real Pain, and we are joined right now by its editor, Robert Nassau. Robert, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And, you know, I wish I could say I was able to get into the premiere the other day. Unfortunately, I wasn't. So tickets here this year are insane. Everybody is saying they can't get into anything.
Yeah. Like every Sundance, you finagle your way. We managed to get into something on the wait list.
Yeah.
You just have to, play your cards right. I don't know how it works.
I'm going to have you work my ticket situation next year. But suffice to say, tell me about A Real Pain. What is the film about?
The film is about two best friends who are cousins who are attempting to repair their relationship on a Holocaust tour of Poland.
Oh, one of those.
It's a comedy.
And it's a comedy. There, as we talked about earlier, there's never a straight-ahead comedy at Sundance. There's always something complicated about it, which we'll dig into. But the next question should be, well, how did you get on this project?
The head of Topic Studios, Ryan Heller, we were finishing up a movie, Shortcomings, which came to Sundance last year. And he was developing this and thought Jesse Eisenberg, the director, and I would really get along, and that I would really relate, and just vibe with the project. And he was right. So Jesse and I met, and Ali Herdig, the producer, and the other producers, and Jesse and I really hit it off, became fast friends, and I was on board.
Well, there you go. So you're on board. You're like, I'm in. I'm going to do it. What do you do to prep for it in terms of, it's going to be a commitment of your time, and also you're going to need to set up an environment where you can be creative. So when you say, okay, I'm your guy, what do you do next?
Look through the script, make notes on the script, start thinking about what elements you need to put together. I like to front load the work as much as possible, so gathering music and things like that. Getting a desk. Cleaning the desk.
Editors often overlook the cleaning the desk part. There's a very important step is cleaning the desk.
Between projects. Yeah, you don't clean the desk for the 6 months you're working on it, but you want.
And where did you cut the film?
I have a home studio in my basement in Brooklyn, and I fix that sucker up. We had I had a room for myself and a transfer station, and my assistant came in there too. Louis Armistead, very tall man in a very low ceiling space, but somehow it worked out. And the three of us worked in there together. They shot in Poland, by the way. So for the initial shoot, I was in the home base in Brooklyn while they shot in Poland.
And so you mentioned, like, one of the first things I do is I look at the script, and as you said, I like to front load the work. When you were looking at this script, what, without giving too much away, what were the notes that you made, and what were the, I don't want to say concerns, but what were the things you noticed that, okay, this may be something to keep an eye on in editorial?
There's so many, but the script is so great. The guide I generally take for whether I think I want to do a project is when I read it, and I get 3/4 of the way through the script, and if I care what happens to the lead characters, I'm in, and the rest is kind of just gravy, So we had some talks about how the beginning of the film worked, how as it was cast, how the characters kind of changed when an actual actor was in that part, how the meaning of the piece changes. Music, the entire film is scored with music from Chopin. There's no composer, so we were just talking about whether that would work or not, and thought we'd give it a try.
So your assistant's very tall. Other than height, what do you look for in a good assistant?
Someone who's reliable and is nice to work with, and Lou's worked with me on previous movie called Juliet Naked, and I knew he would be a great match for us. And I also had an assistant in Poland doing dailies, Sebastian, last name withheld because it's in Polish and I'll probably mess up the pronunciation.
Yeah, fair enough. So we talked about how that A Real Pain is comedic, but it's not a straight-ahead comedy because that would not be allowed at Sundance. You've worked in comedy before. A lot of editors or filmmakers in general will say comedy is one of the hardest things to do. Do you agree with that? And what do you think is, if you do, what do you think is so hard about it?
Jokes. I think
Jokes
I've had
are
some
hard.
people say, comedy, it's all about the timing, right? And jokes.
Yeah.
You need the jokes to have the timing with. Yeah, I don't find comedy hard per se. In fact, I find it easier because you have a clear goal, which is to make someone laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't look like it's going to make someone laugh, you can take it out. In this, when you're in the dramedy area, you have other considerations, and a lot of times you're not just going for the laugh, and you're just cognizant of what you're trying to do with each beat in the film. Yeah.
Well, you said your goal is obviously to make somebody laugh. Your goal is to make an audience laugh.
Yeah.
And for comedy or drama, you end up getting to that screening process where, okay, let's figure out now, is this actually working? Were you able to go through any screening processes before Sundance? And if so, what did they inform you about the story you had in place?
Yeah, we had 3 screenings and sent some links out to friends as well. And they were very confusing. They were great. We had, I remember we had 2 friends and family. The first, this group of friends and filmmakers went, "This movie's perfect. It's great. Don't change anything. Just finish it, And we kept working. We had a second screening, and everyone kind of went, "This movie's pretty good. I don't know." And then, half the people said, "Well, you need to do X," and the other half said, "Don't do that. Do the opposite." We had to kind of figure out, well, what are they missing? What's going on? We kept working. We had a third screening, which went amazingly well. So we kind of knew we were honing in. But I think it's the film is in that area. There's a lot of tragedy, obviously, and there's a lightness of tone. And there's a little bit of a distance. It's not. We tried to make it a little bit elegant, a little bit elegiac. Yeah, if I pronounce that right. And so sometimes you kind of have to look at each moment and decide what are we trying to do with this moment. Yeah.
Well, one of the things you're trying to do with the film at Sundance is sell it. How are things going on that front?
Yeah, I just found out an hour ago that we sold to Fox. Oh, not Fox, Searchlight, now owned by Disney. Anyway, Searchlight Pictures. Yeah, and it was great. It's as I like to say, when things go well, people actually like this one.
Well, it sounds like people actually like this one. I've heard people talking about it. I think it feels like one of the bigger movies at the festival this year, which after all the hard work you've put into it, I think must feel great. I want to congratulate you certainly on the film, but also on its selling. And, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today, because I was looking forward to hearing about this one, and you really delivered. So thank you, Robert.
Thank you. And also, of course, I had this great team, in addition to Jesse Eisenberg and the producers I worked with. There's the 2 assistants I mentioned, and the sound crew, Tim Korn, Dan Timmons, Jen Ruffalo, and the color team, Marcy at Nice Shoes. Anyway, it was all, it was just great to have this great team and make it work.
Yeah. See, just like an editor, always heaping praise on everybody else. When it's the editor that is the rock, the hub of the whole thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I really meant. But, yeah.
I knew that. All right, there you go. Robert Nassau from A Real Pain. Thank you for joining us here at Sundance. There'll be more great content coming from Park City. Just stay tuned on the Avid social media channels, and we will see you there.